Warning. The following is probably going to cause headaches and confusion. And I'm going to reference Scott Steiner and Wizards of the Coast. And then I'm going to laugh. So if any of the following offends you, well, you just bro SR out of here because you're probably not going to appreciate this. But I am. What's up, nerds? It's your boy, the OG GM, coming to you live from a small island off the coast of Costa Rica, affectionately referred to as Site B. I can call it whatever I want because I made it up. It is Thursday, the 29th day of June, 2023, about 8 o'clock in the morning. It is foggy and cloudy and rainy here because I live at the beach in Southern California. So, of course, but we did have we're having horrible mornings, but excellent evenings. So, just that muggy mid there. You don't care. You want to talk about this, don't you? So, get ready for this one. Once again, Wizards of the Coast has rolled Jeremy Crawford out of whatever vat they store him in to pontificate for over 40 minutes about what the proposed changes for Dungeons & Dragons 2024 are and how they have now changed the proposed changes for Dungeons & Dragons 2024 from this point in time last week. Remember, nothing before 2014 matters or counts. Nothing between 2014 and 2023 December 31st counts because D&D is going to be completely regenerated January 1st, 2024 to a brand new but not new product called, right now, it has no name. It's just Dungeons & Dragons 2024. For the last year. And so we have been fed week after week after week, this line from Wizards of the Coast about changes and about it is a new edition, it's not a new edition, how are we going to change everything? It's backwards compatible, it's not backwards compatible, nothing before that, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying because I've said it 1,000 times. So now as the due date gets closer and they've already changed one thing, Jeremy Crawford has informed us that, well, guess what? Everything we just said over the past year, chuck that out the window because we're changing everything again. Let's get into this. Okay, Dungeons & Dragons appears to be abandoning several proposed changes to the rule set in favor of character building frameworks more aligned with the current rules. Today, Wizards of the Coast released a new video, no links to the video, that provided an overview of the next Unearthed Arcana playtest. Remember, they said they weren't going to do any more Unearthed Arcanas, except then they said, well, we didn't like the results to the Druid and Rogue playtests, so we are. Notably, the video revealed that this Unearthed Arcana will be the biggest ever. That's what you said about the last one. But it also would feature a return of several notable character progression features. Most notably, each class's capstone ability will once again be earned when a player reaches level 20. Since most of the capstone abilities are really kind of pointless, no one cares. And the subclass progression for each character class is returning to its 214 progression, which, with the exception of every class, subclass's ability will start at level 3. Support me, Rockstar. I will sell out. So, some of the classes get their subclass jump at level 3. Rogue. Rogue can choose its 3, 4, 6 subclasses at level 3. Others started at level 1, like Wizards and Clerics. Just bam, here you go, pick your thing, that's it. There aren't, and then 3, you kind of get a thing. Then they said everybody was going to get it at level 1. Everybody starts out the same. But now they're going back to the way the book looks like now, the 2014 to December 31st, 2023 Player's Handbook. So some of the classes get theirs then, some of the classes get theirs now, but now everybody gets it at level 3. So everybody, again, is equal. No special really abilities. And 1 or 2, the odd number of levels are always sort of, screwed over anyways, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. Okay. Whatever. Earlier playtests played around with the idea that character class progression would be standardized, meaning that all the classes would learn either a class ability or a subclass ability when reaching the same level. Sure, why not? For instance, previous playtests featured character classes that earned subclasses features at level 3, 6, 10, and 14. However, in the video, Jeremy Crawford mentioned that the standardized character progressions caused an unintended ripple effect. What? People were finding ways to break the game that caused the design team to return to the original format, because the original format is also broken. However, Wizards will be retaining one part of the new character progression. All subclasses will get their first subclass feature at level 3. End cap abilities, nobody cares. They decided they've gotten rid of the epic boon feats, but they might bring them back, because I guess the epic boon feats weren't reviewed well enough, but the epic boon feats were kind of dumb anyways. I mean, most of them are like, why would I waste a feat on that? It doesn't really give me anything that amazing. Our material included in the playtest will have multiple classes for the 7 classes. So we're back to 7 classes. That means, is Artifactor gone? Fighter, Ranger, Paladin, Barbarian, Bard, Cleric, Druid, Wizard, Warlock, Artifactor. Who's missing? Because that's 10. And they're bringing back monks. Revised spells and brand new spells will also appear in the playtest, along with revisions to the weapon mastery system introduced in the last playtest. Based upon the video released by Wizards of the Coast, it seems that the D&D design team is stepping back from the big changes proposed in the previous playtest. This provides a bit more context to Wizards' previous explanation that the upcoming 2024 core rulebooks were revisions to 5th edition instead of a 5.5 6th edition or a new version of the game entirely, even though they did say multiple times it was a new game entirely and you had to buy the new books over and over again. While many were skeptical about these changes based upon the early playtests, which proposed changes to several fundamental mechanics, it seems the designers are quickly settling on something that's bigger than an errata, but then smaller even in a revised or enhanced edition of the game. So the big changes, we're really not going to change much of anything. We're kind of leave it sort of the way it is, and we're just going to edit some things and change some things and add some things in that changed because of Tasha's and Xanthers. And pretty much by the time this book comes out in 2024, it's sort of going to look like what we already have. So it's going to be 5.5, much like 3.5, which wasn't a new edition, right? It was just we fixed some things. You didn't have to buy it, but of course, we stopped producing stuff for 3. And yeah, I made it very clear that you did have to buy all the books over again. And everybody did buy 3.5 all over again. And most people agreed 3.5 was a little better. But yeah, no, it's not 5.5. It's just a revision. But we're still making a brand new player's handbook that you're going to have to buy, a brand new monster manual that you're going to have to buy, and a dungeon master's guide that you're going to have to buy. But it's not as different as it was yesterday. 24 hours ago, it was completely different. Bob Worldbuilder did a video on it, and he agreed with me. Bob Worldbuilder agreed with me. I'm honored. But that was 24 hours ago, Bob. So now we're back to confusion. So if I'm reading this the way I'm reading this, there is no reason for me to buy 5.5 2024 now, because you're not really changing anything, which means if I already have the books like Player's Handbook and Tasha's, and I already have the errata you've already put up, why do I need to buy your book? Why do I need to spend $54 on this book and this digital thing that we don't even know when it's coming out if it's not going to be that different? In fact, I don't, right? Which means you're literally telling people, don't buy this because nothing's changed. This is all stuff you can find online for free anyways, or it'll be on the D&D Beyond if you spend the $30 a month. So yeah, everything we said over the last year is bullshit. We changed it, kablooey, literally within the last 24 hours. We changed everything. So yeah, if I was Wizards of the Coast, I'd be like, screw it. We don't need to release another Player's Handbook. We could just do another Tasha's for a lot cheaper, right? I mean, who haven't we topped yet? We haven't done Tensor yet. We haven't done Darwin yet, right? We haven't done Rodekin, right? Vecna could have his own book. Sure, Zastam's Guide to, I don't know, Tiamat could write a book. Tiamat's Guide to who Drizzt. We could have Drizzt write the next book, right? I mean, there's plenty of characters from the lore of the game that you could just spot out another 2024 splat book containing the new revised rules. It'd probably be smaller, cheaper, and we wouldn't feel this compounding dread if we don't jump in line for whatever you have next. Now, mind you, the hypocritically, you've just basically gone back on everything you said for the last year, making the whole last year sort of pointless, because now there's no reason for me to buy the new book if it's not a new book, if you're not really changing anything. Now, of course, you're counting on people doing the exact same thing that happened with 3.5, and that people will jump on board and buy this new thing out of the I have to have the new thing fear. And then, of course, you're not going to continue to support 5, whatever 5 is at the end of this year, because you will make all new products compatible with 5.5. I'm calling it 5.5, guys. Sorry. And everybody else is going to call it 5.5 or 6. If you're releasing new books and you're changing things the way you did like with 3.5, it's 5.5 or it's 6. Everybody's going to call it 5.5 or 6. They were going to call it 5.5 or 6 anyways. Nobody was just going to call it D&D 2024. I was going to call it D&D Evolved. I think Scott is calling it D&D Now. I don't know. So it could be the one time Scott and I agree. Maybe. I don't know. At least on names. So 2024 D&D Evolved will be nothing new, really. I mean, there's not even anything on the page, even though it says it is. So congratulations, Wizards of the Coast. You've just told me I don't need to buy the new book because you're not really changing anything. You also told me you're counting on the same fear tactics that led everybody to rush out and buy 3.5, and that you're really not going to support 5 anymore. Not that you were going to support 5 anymore anyways. We already knew that. But basically, hey, everything we said to you guys over the last year and all the fear and terror and bullshit we caused, we're hypocrites. We didn't really mean any of it. We're changing everything back to the way it is, sort of. So I don't know what the new Player's Handbook is going to look like in 2024, when and if it ever comes out. We'll talk about that in another video. Ding! But that means that's a lot of fucking art you got to spit out to make up for the page loss if there's really nothing that new. Right? But they already said it was going to have like 23 to 30 new pages of just art. It's going to have a lot of art. If you're paying for that physical book, you're basically just paying for a lot of art. That is, if you can get your hands on a physical book. We'll talk about that in another blog. So, kablooey, they changed. Nothing changed. Literally, everything I've said for the last year is now sort of pointless, because now I don't have to buy the new book. After all, of course, they said you didn't have them, but then they said you did, but then you said, I don't know whether to laugh at Wizards of the Coast for their continued self-destructive stupidity, cry over the fact that we've wasted so much time and energy on this topic, or just go, ha, I told you so. We all knew they were going to screw us anyways. And all you 5e fans, what are there? There's like 4 of you left, I think, on the entire planet, who are still investing in this nonsense. You're kind of left in the same position I am after a year of getting all excited about the changes. Now you're being told all those changes are bullshit. We're not changing really much of anything. I guess we'll see when the new playtest goes live, which should be now, except it's not. And as for the video with Crawford, I'm not going to sit through that unless I have trouble falling asleep tonight. I mean, if you need some ASMR and want to see the most smug-looking asshole in gaming, probably just watch any video with Crawford in it. You'll be asleep within 20 seconds, but your subconscious will be going, God, that guy looks like such an ass. He just so enjoys tearing the hobby that he claims he loves apart. God damn you, Wizards of the Coast. On the other hand, thanks, Wizards of the Coast, because without you, I wouldn't have anything to talk about. I'm the OG GM with today's first dose of Wizards of the Coast stupidity. Stick with me, because we're going into this weekend with a lot of Wizards of the Coast nonsense, I'm sure. I told you guys at the beginning of the year, it's going to be a bumpy ride, and so far Wizards of the Coast is yet to disappoint. Bam, bam, bam! Scott Steiner Math. I'm the OG GM. If you appreciate this content, let me know. If you never want to hear me talk about this topic ever again, too bad! If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please subscribe. Help me hit 2,000 subs by the end of the year, and we'll be back in a bit with more Wizards of the Coast nonsense. Now let's take a break. See ya!